we hear from Germany that there were Army personnel that went in and seized the Scytl server. You're probably never going to hear from that server again. People within this government covering their rear ends is what intelligence people are telling me.
SOE, a Scytl company, is innovating voter registration and election management systems. Many jurisdictions currently use disparate systems to handle voter registration and election management. SOE has created a dynamic voter registration system that includes fully integrated election management that leverages Microsoft Dynamics, bringing all the advantages of constituent relationship management to the forefront of the election world. The SOE voter registration and election management system is not hardware dependent like many traditional systems. Ongoing support and continuous development with Microsoft ensure the SOE solutions will continue to meet future government standards. The ability to provide transparency throughout the entire election process has never been easier. SOE provides large amounts of data quickly while streamlining elections. This ensures faster data processing, reduces paperwork, improves election setup and monitoring, and enables dynamic report generation, anytime, anywhere, from your preferred device. Create a positive dialogue between citizens and their governments, and give people a voice in their future with SOE, the leader in election modernization.
And frankly, I'll just tell you, I told the president exactly what he needed to get from the Scytl information on Sunday night. He said, can you send me an email with the specifics, IP addresses, all of that? Well, our conversation was not on a secured line, and my email was not on a secured line. And the next day, before the president had a chance to review it and order anything, we hear from Germany that there were Army personnel that went in and seized the Scytl server. You're probably never going to hear from that server again. People within this government covering their rear ends is what intelligence people are telling me. Folks, this was a cheated election, and we can't let it stand.
You've been chosen.
Okay, I will now address the claim that millions of votes are to be shifted to Trump due to deliberate manipulation using the Dominion voting system. This is one of a few circulating viral videos.
Went into Scytl and grabbed their server. There's some that believe this is the U.S. intelligence that manipulated all this.
New reports claim the real results of the 2020 U.S. election were found on a computer server that was seized by the U.S. military in Frankfurt, Germany. In a recent tweet, a Virginia congressional candidate shared an electoral map that's allegedly based off of this data from that server. It shows a landslide victory for President Trump with a 410 electoral college vote, including liberal strongholds California and Minnesota. Congressman Louis Gohmert, you just heard from him there. He says the real election results were stolen through vulnerabilities in the Dominion voting system.
Extremely compelling evidence that could be gleaned from Scytl, that's S-C-Y-T-L. That's a company headquartered in Barcelona, Spain, that was responsible for aggregating all the information from all the machines and whatnot. But now the main headquarters had moved to Frankfurt. That information as to how many votes were switched from Republican for Democrat would have been easily established from the information that Scytl gathered.
Reports say the data gathered by the U.S. military in Frankfurt provides enough evidence to overturn the election and expose the voter fraud.
So, key terms in this discussion are the name of the U.S. House candidate, Manga Anantantmula, Texas Representative Louis Gohmert, the company Scytl, which we were told was previously headquartered in Barcelona, Spain, but moved to Frankfurt, Germany, and of course, Sidney Powell and Dominion. It was revealed by Heather Jones that Sidney Powell had just retweeted Congressman Louis Gohmert speaking about the computers seized in Germany. I went to Sidney Powell's Twitter page and found a retweet that she made showing German ISP confused by their all-time traffic record on election night, noted to be at 10 terabytes per second. I encourage you to go through Sidney Powell's Twitter page. I mean, she's retweeting a storm right now. I thought she was retweeting just things from days before, because that was the last time she tweeted, but no, in fact, she's probably tweeted over 50 times in the last 24 hours, at least. I think I've been unfollowed from this person. Anyways, this tweet is an allusion to illegal goings on in Germany. I could not find a tweet that specifically referenced the military seizing anything in Germany. So anyways, here's a map which shows an alleged Trump landslide, even including Hawaii and California, supposedly due to accurate tabulation of votes in Scytl software in Germany. So on this map, the orangish color represents the Dominion voting machines. The other colors represent other brands of voting machines. Here's the Real Clear Politics map that shows which candidate won which state. So, analyzing these three maps, some key overlap states for the Dominion software where I could determine perhaps the results could have been switched if that software was hacked includes New Hampshire, Georgia, New Mexico, California, Wisconsin, and that about rounds out the list. You see California, New Mexico, Nevada as well. Now Arizona just has a few locations with these machines. And so you see in the Real Clear Politics map, these were states that were lost. California, Nevada, New Mexico, New Hampshire, Georgia, Wisconsin. Now I'm thinking it's possible that the Scytl software was also installed on other branded machines besides Dominion. And in that case, possibly some of these other states would be implicated as well. I think that necessarily would have to be the case in order for this map to look as red as it's looking. Because as we have demonstrated, the Dominion machines are not in all of these states. Okay, here's the actual map of all the states which use the Dominion software. With our democracy suite system successfully implemented throughout the United States, Dominion has established itself as a trusted and proven elections partner, taking the time and effort to learn directly from the cuts off. So comparing these maps, they do match up pretty nicely actually. We're reminded that Texas actually has a few of these machines there, or maybe just the software for Dominion there. You see these orange points on this map. Wyoming here, which also went for Trump, had a few Dominion machines as well. So the respective states which counted also having Dominion include Virginia and Pennsylvania. So if the issue is just with Dominion, then the results have to be looked at more carefully in these red states, but particularly California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Michigan, Wisconsin. Now let's compare the Dominion map to the alleged Scytl Germany map. Now one discrepancy I found is little bitty Rhode Island apparently does not have the Dominion machines. However, it is a state that's supposed to have flipped red on the Scytl software. So what does that mean? I mean, are there other non-Dominion machines that are implicated with Scytl as well? Comparing the special Scytl map with the actual true Real Clear Politics map, pretty much all of the new red states were states that had the Dominion software installed, with the exception of Rhode Island. Notably, Virginia was one of those states which had shifted to Trump per this source, allegedly, Scytl. Oh yeah, and Hawaii doesn't have any of this special software, at least not Dominion, and it also had flipped.
Which is why Texas rejected using Dominion software 3 times.
Except it's in Texas. And here is Sidney Powell staking her reputation on there being a difference in election results by greater than hundreds of thousands of ballots.
And President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes that were shifted by this software that was designed expressly for that purpose.
Meanwhile, Lin Wood updates on his actions. Lin Wood is one of Donald Trump's attorneys who is helping to spearhead efforts at addressing alleged election irregularities. He says, "Late this afternoon, I filed an amended complaint against the GA Secretary of State and others. Due process issues are now raised. The recount is a sham. Tomorrow I'll move for an emergency TRO." TRO is a temporary restraining order. Just to make sure you have the full context and most recent updates regarding the dominion of our country, this individual called the ABC15 Data Guru states that he got off the phone with election officials and that Maricopa County spent $6 million replacing the Dominion system with something else. We're sort of forced to take this character's word for it. If you go to this individual's Twitter page, he has an additional point of discussion where he says that some election official contacted him, told him that he had highlighted this in 2017 report because he wanted to change to election employees so that accountability would go to his office rather than Dominion. And this is in response to Ron's tweet about Dominion employees being listed on the staff control of ballot tabulation for Maricopa County Recorder. A recall from the video I did on the Detroit, Michigan whistleblower that the polling employees, particularly the IT professionals that help to ensure there are no paper jams, are apparently employed by Dominion, so they are technically a Dominion employees. Anyhow, this guy is a data analyst for ABC15. So I scrolled through this other character, Manga Anantatmola, for Congress. In addition to the allegation of the military seizing servers in Germany, this person does show a good collection of the most intriguing links to articles discussing widespread election irregularities. I really like this one, breaking exclusive, multiple reversals and proportional vote entries in Virginia on election night after 11 p.m. indicate election fraud occurred. Virginia is one of the Dominion states, and I myself had watched the results slowly come in on November the 3rd, and I saw that Trump had an initial advantage in Virginia that started to go away. I suspected that there could be fraud in Virginia. Here on November 14th, Manga cites Congressman Louis Gohmert, stating it's Gohmert who revealed that the U.S. Army team raided the Scytl server in Frankfurt, Germany. If you're unclear about the gender of Manga, it's a woman. Here she is. A mother and a wife. So it makes sense, given that she's a candidate for Congress in Virginia, that she would be concerned about corruption in Virginia. On his website found through DuckDuckGo called The Spectator, the query for this article is, did the US raid European software company Scytl and seize their servers in Germany? Our intel source says yes, it happened. Interesting tidbits of this article are that Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's Vulcan Capital invested $40 million in Scytl. Bill Gates also owns stock in Scytl. This article also reveals a tweet about Lynn Wood, one of the attorneys. Apparently this attorney is interested in Scytl. States, well, Biden might because he'll probably forget the name Scytl. His co-conspirators know the name well. They also know the name Paragon, the company which purchased Scytl in 1020. All of a sudden this whole election story is starting to remind me of like Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, with Maximilius Pegasus. So now we have this company named Paragon. Anyways, this article claims to have a source. The US government, once they determined that this Dominion server was involved in switching votes, then the intelligence community began a search for the server and discovered that the server is in Germany. In order to get access to that server and have it immediately available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that the government of Germany cooperate in allowing this seizure of the server. The appropriate documents required to effect that kind of seizure were put in place, signed off on, and it appears there were also US military support in this operation. The US military was not in the lead, but this helps explain why Esper was fired and Miller and Kash Patel were put in place so that the military would not interfere with the operation anyway. By getting a hold of the server, they were now going to have the direct evidence when they were instructed to stop counting. They also discovered who gave the direction to stop counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching votes. The CIA was completely excluded from this operation. So that's from this source acquired by The Spectator. Here, Rudy Giuliani explains the relationships between these different companies.
Dominion is a company that's owned by another company called Smartmatic through an intermediary company named Indra. Smartmatic is a company that was formed way back in about 2004, 2003, 2004. You're going to be astonished when I tell you how it was formed. It was formed really by three Venezuelans who were very close to the dictator Chavez of Venezuela, and it was formed in order to fix elections. That's the company that owns Dominion. Dominion is a Canadian company, but all of its software is Smartmatic software. So the votes actually go to Barcelona, Spain. So we're using a foreign company that is owned by Venezuelans who are close to Chavez, are now close to Maduro, have a history. They were founded as a company to fix elections. They have a terrible record, and they are extremely hackable. So,
okay, so the main takeaway is the Smartmatic software somehow allows for vote tallies to come out of Barcelona, Spain. I believe the Barcelona, Spain reference must be with regards to an allegation that Scytl previously operated in Spain and then was transitioned to Germany. Twitter advanced search query, date range January 4th, 2007 to July 4th, 2015. There are very few tweets which have Scytl and Dominion in the same message. None of these tweets show a specific connection or inheritance. So while I've been continuing to sleuth for connections between Dominion and Scytl, I found this really interesting and I'll say somewhat bizarre tweet. Chillin' at Beach Resisting Everywhere responded on June 9th, 2020 to this individual who posted something about Scytl technology improving efficiencies and scalability. This person said, "They are going bankrupt. We are writing open records for GA counties as we speak. They are an ex-CIA funded by Perry Valles, the Titan missile level 3 DynCorp guy. They do these bankruptcies like Trump to remove debt and legal hassle. Judge in Spain is good at Scytl." So remember Scytl's claim. Technologies implemented by Scytl in the US were both hosted and managed within the US. This particular article I'm looking at on Right Journalism, if it's right, it can't be wrong, basically makes the allegation that the original tweet that was stated the US Army had raided Scytl was from an account that shared false information and first appeared on November 8th in search. The article makes the contention that Representative Gomert bases his entire claim of the military seizure of Scytl based on a German tweet, and he talks about that here.
All of this information was cycling through, not supposed to, but it was. And actually there was a German that, as I was told, there was a tweet in German from Germany that the U.S. Army had gone in and seized the Scytl server. They're going through bankruptcy, right?
So yes, this representative was stating that this particular tweet you see here, this German tweet, was his source for the discovery of the army going into Germany to clear up issues with Scytl. However, it should be noted that Representative Gohmert didn't specifically say that was his only source. It was just a source that was mentioned in this particular interview. In a retweet by Alpha Omega Energy, basically this person notes Scytl bankrupt. The country Spain's mentioned. So that fits with this poster who said on June 9th that Scytl was bankrupt. Or with this statement, they do these bankruptcies like Trump to remove debt and legal hassle. A commenter notes that Peter Vale's Google search seems to have been scrubbed since last time I looked. Now keep in mind, folks, it's June 9th, this is months before the election. 13 Titan connections didn't pop up this time. Going dark? Going dark is a question. This commenter notes that there was an article from 2014 on Scytl. The article titled, "Scytl has all the tools it needs for election fraud." I tried to look for the article, this happens. So I played around with the search bar and was able to pull up this website. So here's the article, "Scytl has all the tools it needs for election fraud" by Jerry Bello. This article was written in 2014. So I read the article. The gist of it is that Scytl at some point owned a company called SOE. SOE created products which had a lot of vulnerabilities. These products could be easily hacked with thumb drives and the like. There was no mention of a particular foreign origin to Scytl or even foreign operations. That's actually information I was looking for, but I didn't find it here. Okay. Scrolling through Twitter with the date range January 1st, 2015 to November 1st, 2020, I found an interesting tweet here. Basically on October 6th, this individual tweets, "Election data uploaded to Precinct Central, Clarity, Democracy Suite, then to Scytl out of Barcelona, Spain, voter fraud." Again, remember, Scytl in the US, both hosted and managed within the US by a local subsidiary, SOE Software, based in Tampa, Florida. But some people on the internet, just random internet folk, were making some type of connection between Scytl and Spain. Another interesting tweet I found while going through this query. On April 18th, Scytl announced it was joining the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Council on Election Security. This person quote tweeted, "WTH, Scytl, which has close ties to the notorious Diebold Election Systems, a company that has since dissolved into ES&S and Dominion, has joined the DHS's Council in Election Security." So if there's any particular bias with DHS in calling the election results, in securing the physical ballots with special markings, quantum financial system codes, blockchain stuff, allegedly, per Pachinik, with Scytl actually on a council for election security at the DHS, that would suggest that maybe those plans were at risk of being scuttled if Scytl had ulterior motives. So now I adjusted the query, Scytl Spain, with the same date range. Tweet from June 26, 2017, election software run by Spanish company Scytl. Wasn't RU hacker Lavishov arrested in Barcelona? Diebold now owned by ES&S. Why is ES&S registered as a foreign company? From November 8, 2018. Here's an infographic titled Roadmap to Karl Rove's Empire of Election Fraud, copyright 2012. There's a particular section just on Scytl. Go ahead and scroll down to that. U.S. leader, currently unknown. Recently, Hugh Gallagher and Bob Urosevich Pryor, based in Barcelona, Spain. This voting system vendor is a top name in MOVE Act compliance software. This picture shows their Scytl USA national headquarters, Hugh Gallagher's modest house. Due to our outing of this absurdity, Scytl quote-unquote USA filed a move notice with the federal government to a virtual office in Baltimore, Maryland at 400 East Pratt 800, just a mail drop and a rent-a-desk. In other words, they still have no real US presence. SOE Software, this smallish software vendor was bought by Scytl. Their office in Tampa Bay, Florida is too small to do major stateside support operations for all of Scytl's contracts. Guys, this is like way back in 2012. So I think there's enough of at least an internet record to suggest that Scytl is probably based in Spain. Anywho, this video is getting a little long, so I'll go ahead and end it here. I may wind up doing a part 2, which will focus on any evidence I could find that there was a operation, military or otherwise, to remove servers from Frankfurt, Germany. Anyhow, if you managed to watch this whole video, I hope your understanding of these shell companies and their influence throughout time, and potentially their influence on our election, I hope that understanding has been broadened. Anyhow, take care.